All right, gang, it's episode 68. This one's with Dante Grazioli. We're going to keep it real short and sweet. I'm just getting right into it, you know. We're big chilling on this episode. I won't lie to you. We didn't have any agenda. We just started talking about whatever. He's a longtime parkour practitioner, friend, funny, smart guy. Hope you guys dig this one. Hope you like big chilling with us. And we'll see you next week. Much love. Thanks for listening. All right, anyhow. Here we are. And we're here. We are speaking with Dante.
Hello.
And, we don't have any plan here. What are we doing? We're just hanging out, man. We just went.
Pretty much.
We did a short training session in Denver. It's going to be
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was nice. You just randomly told me about it as I was heading up.
Spontaneity, dude, is the name of the game. Max Henry just popped in.
Just Nick, and then we had Nick and Max.
All of a sudden, we had a full squad out.
It was a nice little sesh.
It was like a little... and then we all went our separate ways again, like a little dust devil, and then it dispersed, unfortunately, because everyone has
cars
and jobs and things to do today, except for us. We obviously have fuck all to do.
Hey, it's a Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that's nice.
Does that mean is Memorial Day on Monday?
Yep. Getting that day off, feeling good. So what's on your mind, big man, big fella? How you been?
I think it's time to talk about Israel.
Okay, let's get into it.
We're finally on that episode. I told you we'd do it, and here we are.
It is the 68th episode. I think that's like.
I mean, things are getting politically heated. I think it's just time that we just start breaking it down. The whole.
All right. Well, let's start from the beginning.
Israel thing. Just.
So. First of all.
Just bar. Let's start. All right. No. How's life? Summer's starting. Things are heating up.
Things are heating up.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Honestly,
there's tons.
Where do you want to start?
I don't know. I guess just with how the spring's treating you. I haven't been down there this summer. How are things down there? We don't have. I heard today we don't have a jump fest this year.
This is true. From what I know, at least in Colorado Springs, there's not going to be a jump fest this year. So, yeah, and I just heard that from Chris Hollingsworth, who helps organize it and stuff like that, that Justin not running it in the Springs this year. So, yeah, so I feel like in Colorado, we usually have like at least one or two big jams in the summer. And I feel like right now there's nothing, like no big event or anything announced.
Yeah.
Like...
We'll see.
It'd be cool if we could have a jam or something, but yeah.
Maybe. Well, I'm thinking about taking I'm going to be moving.
Yeah.
That's an official announcement. We're going to move the whole studio into a new spot. Now. Yeah, sure. Why not? I signed a lease. So
sure. Why not?
I signed a lease.
Podcast official.
It's podcast official. This is we're going to be this. We're finally leaving the Maxwell, man.
How does it feel?
Man, I feel like we got to send this place out with a bang one more time. I want to host a shindig of sorts.
A Maxwell banger. Get rid of all the furniture.
Just we'll have a tricking session or some shit.
It's kind of cramped.
Little cramped, spot where you can do some ceiling obstacle flip.
Could hit my shin on that.
Hit your shin on the
You could hit your shin on so many things.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I've been here for so long. This is the longest I've ever lived somewhere besides the house I grew up in.
How long has it been here?
5 years.
5 years?
This would be the end of the fifth
you've been
year.
in parkour the whole time too, since then, right? So you started moving in here, and you're like, it's perfect.
Moved out of the gym, out of Apex Boulder before it was Apex. Not the big one, the one that was over by Avery Brewery. I don't know if you remember that one.
The
little guy.
Yeah,
the first Apex Boulder.
I went there all at once when they had the garden tramp in there that you could touch the ceiling on.
Yep.
Yeah. That's when I went there.
So we were living at that gym, and then we moved straight out of that, Knox and myself, into this place.
That must have been quite the transition.
Ooh, it was quite the upgrade. I was like, we're moving up, boys. I was like, holy shit, we're moving up in the world. I don't have to take a shower with a hot bag anymore. With just hot water into a big 40-gallon or a 4-gallon bladder and just hang it on a shipping crate outside.
At least it was hot.
That's true. Not only was it hot, but I actually really enjoyed it.
I mean,
I knew I was going to want to, I was like, I'm only going to be
transition, right?
Transition time.
That's the theme of the day.
That's the theme of the day.
we transitioned from Denver to here.
Smoothly.
From a training session to a podcast.
Dude, we're just transitioning.
Just transitioning.
Life's about the transitions.
No, yeah, like what is going on though? Like so you're gonna be living in Denver now?
Yeah.
Like Denver area?
At least for a year, or unless I do something different. You never know.
Yeah, but still, that's gonna be tight. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do in Denver.
Yeah.
I feel like also there's just not a lot of like, there's not that much footage that comes out of Denver, because I feel like wherever there's parkour gyms, people almost train in the city less around there.
Dude,
you know what I mean? Well,
you're not wrong.
That's definitely true.
It's definitely fucking tough, right? It's like the gyms are so important, first of all, because I don't disagree. Helps build the community.
Yeah.
In like a way that without it, especially in a place like America, maybe where it's just people are sparse anyways. I don't know. It really ties the unit together, but yeah, you do get sort of an addiction to it. Yeah. Or you get like kind of get two different cultures sometimes, where like some people like to train in the gym, and then there's other people that more feel like they're drawn to outside, and they don't always feel like they're the same things.
Yeah, I was thinking about that recently, because I don't like to get in like little arguments or whatever with people kicking you out.
Yeah.
Like I don't like being kicked out of places. Yeah. So like I realized, like, especially where I live in Colorado Springs, like you're just going to have a better time at a park, like statistically. Mm-hmm. If you go to a park, like, sure, you're not going to get like all the same architecture, all the same challenges and stuff, but you're not going to get kicked out or like hassled and stuff. And I've been hassled at parks too, where I live. So it's like, yeah, in the springs especially, it's like you have to pick your days, especially like downtown has to be Sundays and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Weekends, baby.
So that's the other thing that parkour gyms can be good for. But
100%.
But I feel like there's a lot of, like, just the place we went to in Denver today was like so cool, and I'm sure a bunch of people, like, obviously you don't want to ruin it and like have a bunch of people going there, but there's so many places that are untapped still in Denver.
Super untapped. Yeah, and I definitely am stoked about that for sure. I'm like, there's so much untapped areas.
Just for exploring.
And
I could just walk in any direction.
Baby.
Like,
let's go somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I think there is, there's just, I don't like it when we're like, oh, let's go to that place that we've already been to. I'm like, we went to it though.
See, that can be okay, because then the adventure is in like your mind.
True.
You know what I mean? Because like
it's
that
just a different adventure. That's all. Yeah.
For me, if it's like a place you've been to like 100 times, like I don't just retire the place. For me, I'm like, that almost makes it better, because now that you've been there so many times, you can really like look at some crazy possibilities or things that take stacking of thoughts to get to, I guess. But I do understand that, like, sometimes you're like, today I just want to train like the adventure train. Yeah. Like I don't need to like hit a big challenge I've been thinking about for weeks. I just want to find something today, do it today, and like and kind of just discover and learn and do all the process really fast in that one day.
Yeah. That's how I prefer to do things, for sure. Which is, maybe why I should work on the other one. Like, it strengthens a different muscle to like have that internal journey and adventure.
For me, it's also about like a hangout spot. Like sometimes if a bunch of people don't feel like training that much, so like, oh, we'll just all meet at this spot and hang out, and like maybe we'll start training or something. And if somebody does stuff, then it tends to be more creative usually. Or like, I mean, it happened to me just the other day, because like we went to Cottonwood and it was a horrible choice. Like like around this time is when people are getting out for school, and like they have field trips to Cottonwood and stuff. So like if you go to Cottonwood, there's even more people, and they're all wearing like matching shirts, and they show up in a school bus, and then there's just people all over the place. So you're like, not even a chance, basically. Yeah. So we just like walked past like the bathrooms, and there's like 3 planters with a bunch of 3 trees in it, and we just played there like all day, which like I would never, like, I've trained there a couple times in all of my 13 years of training, but it's not a regular thing. So it was like really fun, because I haven't done it in a long time, and I tore my hands up on the trees. It was a good time.
That's amazing when you can go back to a spot that looks different, even though
those trees like over 1,000 times, and yet like I did a bunch of new stuff there. So that was really cool, because you don't expect that. Even your body and your brain don't have to focus so much on a new area. Like you're very comfortable in like, okay, I know where everything is, what everything is, how everything should be for the most part, because you're really acclimated. So then like you can start going in like weirder places in your brain, I feel like. if that makes sense. Because like your brain doesn't have to work so hard to cover all the other like anxieties.
Yeah. You're like, okay, I know the walls of cottonwood or the rails, whatever. You're just like, okay, I know the tackiness of the obstacle. I know like the rigidity and the structures, and like there's just frees up brain power for you. Yeah, it's cool to focus on the creativity, which is important. I'm a bit lazy maybe with it because I'm like, I like to just go into an environment and be like, cool. There's the thing you do. Like, there it is, because like no one's done it yet. Yeah. And like I get inspired to do it. Just knowing that like, oh, cool. This is like, I'm going to bring that, birth that into existence. Like freestyle painting almost in a way there, where you're like, all right, time to make some brush strokes. And like, that's it right there. Whereas like, it's weird how parkour is like supposed to be one thing, but like, everybody trains it differently. Like it's not even like karate, where it's like at least a lot of people are doing similar things. It's like no one really tells you like what your goals are in parkour, I guess. Like, I mean, there's the main goal of what parkour is supposed to be, but like when people train it, like, you know, that's all entirely your own. So it's weird that like our goals could be 100% different. How we get there is different. And yet we're just like, we're doing the same thing. Hashtag parkour. Yeah, that is interesting, man. Yeah, I use it very differently, I think, or whatever, than everyone does. Yeah. But yeah, for sure. Like I get bored. Like the spot we're at today, you guys have never been to. I've been to one time and I was like, oh, we're here again. Like that's like, you know, I'm like sometimes lazy about it. And I'm like, but that's partially because my knee was hurting anyways. And you know, okay, and you're like, that's my own challenge, whatever. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, I want to go somewhere again. Like I just want to see something I've never seen before. That's why traveling is super good. I love traveling because the world is small, but it's also huge. Oh, and there's a lot of corners to go around and be like, ooh, look at that. Ooh. I like that. Yeah. No, that is a good spot too, for sure. It's I liked it. I could have trained there more for sure. Like I could go back there. I didn't feel like doing a whole lot, especially because my freaking wrist. But I liked what I saw. Like there's definitely. I was also getting annoyed at some of the branches though, the trees. Like there's a lot of great challenges there, but you can't do them unless you want to break some trees. You got to be friendly to the trees. That's what's so cool about tree spots is they change every season. Yeah, but they change like year to year. Can still get in the way. You're like, ooh, that's going to be a dope spot in 10 years when those trees are big enough to bear weight. See, I'm not on that shit yet. I mean, I'm all about. I'm just like, there's a branch in my way. Can I like bend it up into another branch so it kind of holds out of the way? I wonder what. I try not to break it. That's like, I don't want to be breaking branches for a challenge. That's stupid. You get like your challenge is already so arbitrary. I want to see like a botanist come in. Or I don't know, an arborist. What is it? Someone who deals with plants. Yeah. And I want them to like grow like an organic bar setup where they grow the trees from very young, and they make sure that the branch is like perpendicular to each other. And they build like some crazy setup where it's all trees. You know, the best time to start is today. All right. You guys got some ecology books to send me? Actually, the best time to start was yesterday. Well, but the second best time to start is today when it comes to planting trees. Yeah, we need some more, right? So if you're even thinking about it, you gotta start planting something. I want somebody else to do it. I want to just swing on it when it's there. I thought you were going to talk about like, I don't know if you remember this. I think it was like a old Tim Sheaf Livewire video where he goes and he like gets the shrub out of the thing with a nice little. He like takes it out so he can do the challenge in the little planter, and then he like puts it back. Yeah, I like that. That was adorable. That was amazing. Tim Sheaf. He had like shovel in the gloves and stuff. I think. Yeah, everybody should have a little shovel for if you're gonna be doing concretes over. That's a tactical parkour belt thing. Yeah, we're all gonna have like a Batman like utility thing one day. What if we just had like a little like scissors though for like getting little. Is that too far? I think it's too far. Here's the thing, you know, climbing trees, breaking some shit, that's good for the tree sometimes. It's like an itch they gotta scratch. That's another thing I was thinking about. It's like when we were climbing on those trees and there was like a guy, like an employee of the city or something around, I felt like, I was like, is he gonna care about me like jumping on the walls? No. But like jumping on the tree, like you're scraping parts of the tree off, like you could start an argument there. But then it's like, you gotta wonder like, how much like
what counts and what doesn't, and who's
is the tree ready for Dante?
It depends.
Are you bullying that tree, or are you just kind of playing with the tree? You know,
it was. I mean,
bully a
this tree messed me up more than
tree fucked you up.
than I messed it up. I'd say.
See, yeah, most trees will fuck you up. I'd say.
I mean, yeah.
I got in a fight with a tree in Brighton that fucked me up real hard.
Which tree?
The classic, the ones that you'll see Callum jumping the plyos between those branches.
Yeah. Wait, was it Brighton or was it Cambridge?
Brighton.
Brighton? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a park there that's kind of like, whatever, just in town. And I've talked about it before. It was like one of the most savage bails I've ever had. And I rage quit and deleted my clip like an asshole.
Oh, man.
But like, I had this huge jump in front of me. I like let so many things bad go wrong in the situation. First of all, I'm up on this tree. I'm like, I don't feel good today. My knee feels like shit. Like I was just still dealing with some injuries that I'm still dealing with. And then I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to climb this tree.
Like before it happened.
And then, here's the mistake. It is like one of the last days we were there. So I'm like, I want to get some stuff in. Mm-hmm. Like I just want to make the most of it. I did some little jumps, like just a smaller warm up jump, and it feels pretty fine. Mm-hmm. But I never went up and onto the branch that I'm jumping to, and I climbed up to the branch I'm jumping from. Yeah. And Knox is like, I just see Knox pull out the GoPro to start filming because he thinks I'm about to do it, and I'm just like, yeah, I could do it right now. Like maybe it's just as good a moment as any.
Branch? Huh? And you never jumped to that branch?
I didn't even check the branch to see like how mossy it was or anything.
It's not even
that wasn't
about
really
that.
What it was about. It was like just the fact that I really wasn't conditioned in some ways. Like my knee was hurting for a reason. Like I couldn't take that impact very well.
Today when I jumped between two of those rails, mm-hmm. I jumped to one and I realized I hadn't checked that rail yet. And I started freaking out in the air. I was like, oh! So then like when I landed on it like really light and hopped off because for some reason in my head in the air I convinced myself that it could be like really wobbly because I didn't check it. So like I could understand something like that happening.
We are getting a call. Stupid. God damn it.
The classic.
I can't keep.
Don't you have a do not disturb or something button?
I do, but I went through the computer and
rookie.
I don't know what to do. Yeah. So then I just fell 14 feet, did like a break fall, like, which. Yeah.
How you doing from it? Did it hurt anything?
I think
then?
that fucking did some damage, but actually it was not nearly as bad as when I fell off the downhill racing bike with Knox. Like when I went.
Well, that's speed.
That's a lot more speed.
That's speed, dude.
But it was also like I was wearing full pads.
Yeah, but the speed, like.
But I wasn't going that fast.
You don't have pads on the inside of you.
But
you know
I didn't.
What I mean?
Yeah, it was that
pads
like
on the outside,
rocks
but like impact still happens.
Shit.
Yeah,
that was fucking that hurt a lot. I couldn't walk. They're like for the next 3 days.
Jesus, you got to be careful, man.
Can't be too careful.
You can't be too careful, but when you're destroying yourself where you can't walk for 3 days from riding a bike.
I mean, I could walk. I just didn't look right when I was doing it.
All right, then it's fine.
That was a really weird error in judgment. Like that was like a weird lesson. It was my shorts caught on the saddle as I was taking off of a jump. Yeah, and like my shorts weren't stretchy. They just kind of.
If only.
Whatever. It's like okay, I should go slower, but also I should wear different shorts. Was the part of the lesson.
That's why they wear those tight, skinny ones, man. They're never catching anything on there. Yeah, that's more of the like racing guys, though, right? Like I don't know what downhill, whatever you like, what genre of biking you were doing.
Downhill, the hardest of core.
What do they wear other than pads? What's their street
face
gear,
mask? Like,
but what's it if they're just like a bro in the street? What are they looking like?
Well, if they're just a bro in the street, depends how aggressively you ride. Like some people will not.
I'm saying aggressive.
Then you should have a full face helmet.
In the street? I'm just talking about like when they go to a restaurant, what are they wearing? It's not
in the street. It's downhill like mountain biking. You can't do it in the street. Oh, you mean like when they're not mountain biking?
Yeah. I'm saying like parkour people still wear sweatpants when they're not training. Like what do those people maybe spring on? Like they're not going to be wearing a helmet at a bar, but like they might be wearing cargo pants or something. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they just wear fucking pants and shirts, man. I don't remember why I even got on
that, but it was going to be funny.
They wear pants and shirts and some shoes kind of like the ones you're wearing.
All right. Yeah. So their shorts would still get caught like yours is I think what my point was.
They could. But they wouldn't wear those shorts on the mountain.
See, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
On a mountain, those guys, do they like wear like spandex like Lance Armstrong?
You better be elastic. Because if you want that snap off of the saddle if it catches. You want that like pull, or maybe it's skin tight. Yeah. But it's not going to be a woven fabric. No.
No.
That's no good.
No. You've already messed up at that point.
You fucked up.
Before you even get on the bike,
I was wearing some Patagonias. It fucking took me out.
That's a rookie mistake, dude.
God damn it.
Don't wear the Patagonias on the bike ride.
Yeah. Let's see here. Like what else what's popping, dude?
What's popping? All right, let's think.
What do you think is going on this summer? Is there anything
dude, Modus is shooting their thing right now.
That's something we could talk about. Yeah, Modus seems to be
Modus has been doing pretty good. They've been doing the podcasts.
New podcast. Shout out to the Modus projects and the podcast.
I've been listening to it. Have you?
I haven't listened. Yeah, actually, I've mostly listened to every episode.
I might have listened to every one so far. It's good.
Yeah, it is good.
The worms and all. Did you hear about that?
No.
Did you listen to that one? You got to listen to that one.
Dude.
There's a couple where they talk about worms just a tiny bit.
Oh, yes.
But that's that's for their podcast. That's their thing.
Yeah. Get in there. Get in the Modus podcast.
They're doing the Soul Destroyer stuff right now, right? They're going to do, they're like, I think they're close to the end of the shoot for us now. I saw some of them already got like messed up. Like,
that's what's going to happen on a shoot. Yeah. I love that we're returning to this kind of like era. It seems like.
I love that we're just taking their ankles out in a 10-day period, one by one. Yeah, no,
because
it is going to be dope.
I see like parkour at its best is kind of like a fight. A fighting
like
kind of
like UFC.
I'm a jerk off to fighting always. It seems like
it's fine.
But like it's just
parallels.
To me, that's what's epic about seeing somebody rise in the ranks in some ways, or rise in like just what they're offering to the sport is like they do these crazy challenges. It's like getting a bunch of KOs on your record. You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
He did that without getting hurt, you know?
But that's the thing is like...
No, you don't want people to get hurt, obviously, but when you're filming a big project, you're getting hurt because if you're pushing yourself...
Well, I mean, that's the same thing with athletes too. Like they can be shortening their careers. They can be shortening their, a lot of their stuff by doing the fights, but they're also getting paid a lot. And
this is very true.
So
and this is why
there are people out there doing like Kong double gainers and stuff for like zilch.
That is a very good point. Yeah, it's like on the one hand, I'm like, I love it. I want it to be like fighting where you kind of fuck your body up along the way,
and then it's glorious. Right at the end though, they're like, here's all your money in a big bag. Imagine if after you landed a trick, they did that.
That would be, that's why I would like to see it go.
NAPC.
Right now, it's
big trick.
It's just for the, it's always going to be for the love, but it's always like you want to see these people get paid, but ultimately, it's just. Even without that, you like it's in its own way a payment, just to complete, like to be a part of something by being like, this is now where the bar is,
well,
like
most of park. Well, that's the good thing about there not being that much money in it is that it's almost always been for like the glory and the like. Do you care about doing this thing actually, or like because nobody's gonna like. You're going to be the guy who cares most, and maybe your friends will care, but it's like most people won't even understand what you do.
Nope.
So it's like, in a lot of ways, it's mostly been all about people's like own pride and like, I can do this because I can do this. And, and that's good though.
And that's even in fighting, it really comes down to that.
Well, yeah.
No one that's
once you're making like 100,000 versus 200,000, it's like, it's like, okay, you're still making a boatload,
the legacy you want to lead and what you want your movement or your fighting or whatever it is to be about.
Yeah.
And those are always like the most influential people for sure that are like on their own whatever true mission of theirs. But yeah, I just love that we're getting back into this era where like, all right, let's give more of ourselves towards something.
Yeah.
Like Storm put out the Madrid video.
That was really good.
That was really good. And I did a whole little thing on that. So I need to go back into it. And Store still does this. Store does a really good job. They did the POV.
They've been putting a lot of stuff out lately.
They always put a lot of good content out, but they always get enough true kind of video things.
Oh yeah, they're not usually just like breezing
the vlogs
by
and stuff.
Yeah, it's still like got a lot.
They did the POV that they just put out was insane.
I saw some of the stuff with they had a glide cam or something on a wire or something. That looked really crazy. That looked
really cool.
I don't know what that was all about, but I liked it.
They're innovating.
And then there's all the sport parkour stuff going on through the summer, right? There's
sport parkour leagues coming through.
There's so many qualifiers, I feel like. Although there's a lot of them are up 2 more, right? So far, right? Have you taken time to talk about this?
Not really. Let's take time.
Let's take some time. All right.
Before we jump off of the hold on a second. Before we jump off the Modus projects and what they're doing, I just want to wrap that up a little more because I really think that is
I'm really
my favorite thing about the sport in some ways.
Yeah.
Or the discipline or the art form, whatever. I guess I don't really like to call it a sport because I do see it.
You know what I mean?
You have to see it, but I know that those guys. Yeah, that's true. You know, ultimately you want to
But I believe.
I believe as well. And
it's just cool the way they've got it mixed in with the clothing too, where they drop the clothing when they come out with the new video and all that stuff. And it makes sense, and it's a good model, I feel like.
And they're doing a really good job with the clothing too. I mean, they're really pushing it.
Giles is a beast.
Giles is such a beast.
He's a beast with he does a lot of stuff.
Got a good team going. Yeah, that's
it's such a. He's got. They started with only a few people. Now they have so many athletes. It's crazy.
No, it's so
they can afford to destroy a couple of their ankles on a shoot. They still got 8 of them, 7.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Just cycle them, the next shoot, the ones that are healed.
You get beat up when you're doing a tour like that. It's just invariable. It's gonna happen. I think that's what makes it memorable sometimes, though. I don't know.
Well, the energy too. Mm-hmm. It's
you feed off each other on that.
Yeah, it's so hard to you're having the time of your life, but also you're pushing yourself. It's just brain overload in the best way, I feel like.
Well, dude, and the game is getting insane right now.
Yeah.
IMAX, multiple people now are just sticking the IMAX.
Did you see there was another Kong double gainer?
No, when was this?
Off of Eric Muka Mention's back.
Yeah. I turned into Tim Allen for a second. Remember that shit?
Yeah, I can never remember this guy's name. It's Z or something. He's one of the gravitated equation guys, with Bailey Payne.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, just they went to that wall into the sand, and and Eric bent over and was his Kong thing, and he did a Kong double gainer off of him into the sand.
Jesus.
And it was lower than the one Verky did, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was cleaner or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if the sand he was landing on
Verky's was super perfect.
The sand he was landing on was slanted like that, from your right side to your left side. Oh yeah. So it was it's gonna be hard to get a clean landing there anyway. Yeah. But it was crazy.
Did he go over his head clean?
Yeah.
Nice. Not that I am
I am,
but I don't get to be.
Tricks.
I don't get to be because I can't even. Actually, I have done a Kong gainer.
Have you done
back in the gym with mats?
Have you done
and shit,
a gate flip though? A pimp flip, gate flip?
Outside, I don't know that I have.
Because that's that you can do over a vaulting thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Kong gainer, but it's slanted. But it's not the same thing.
No, the Kong gainer is perpendicular. Okay, get your shit.
As if it matters.
Yeah. But in every direction, Pasha went back to land the double frisbee off that insane thing and
he did
cleaner. When he's just no, it was not good enough. I don't know how I don't actually. He doesn't sound like that. But
Eric also has been doing some crazy stuff.
It's blowing my mind what the human body is. We're just finding out more and more what the human body is capable of.
It's also just so easy to share it too, to inspire other people, get other people to learn it, and because if you see it. It's so easy now with a video to see something, and you can learn so much by analyzing it and the tech and stuff. It's back in the day, people had to just have their own tech, and it couldn't spread so so quick. The memes of tech were more guarded, I guess.
When people are so conditioned now, I noticed too. Like the Doms and the Marcio who just stuck that crazy Kong Pre and was at IMAX, and some of these people I just can tell I'm they just have a completely different musculature from training since they were whatever than is even accessible to me and for the next few years because I just literally haven't been doing it as long, and I started much later in the game.
Yeah,
but I'm just it's crazy. It blows my mind that some of the things that you're able to do. For athletes that are competing or not competing, but practicing from this young age.
Air awareness, dude.
And the air awareness is insane.
I feel the younger you start with air awareness can benefit you so much. I feel there's some people who maybe even trained with or around in the same time as me, but they didn't work as much on air awareness. And like in later time, it shows more, even if they try and work on it, like more than somebody if they were younger. They're like more malleable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I think you do have something there with the kind of starting young and like, but we also haven't seen people like take it far out of the youth. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of people we've seen consistently do parkour teens, 20s, 30s. You know what I mean? Like we haven't seen that long yet, really. Like
we don't have,
usually people quit or like stop or something in some point there. So it'll be interesting to see like when we have like the other side of it. So first there's like
Pedro's
the
a good example right now.
There's like child prodigies on one side. I want to start seeing like the parkour gurus on the other side, where it's like they just know. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much they know. Not
just like the athleticism, but
it's just it's there, but
the practice, like the mental practice, the technique.
Yeah.
No, I think
as the sport develops, like we're gonna see a lot more like parkour guru types, like more just really wise. Because I mean, like there's a lot of skills in the whole parkour and free running world that you would be developing that like nobody even talks about, like creating like hardly often is it talked about, like formulating a line or like finding a challenge and like that stuff. Those are skills you're training. And like so so somebody that's been training that for 13 years straight or like 20 years straight, like it's going to be a difference. And like I think it'll be cool to see like almost a different genre of parkour coming out from like where older experienced people start driving it more.
No, I'm excited
because they're not going to start being like, let's do full back outs. And he's, that's not the way
some things
it's
are not
go.
accessible to you.
It's going to like, in some ways it's going to like tone down, but other ways it can tone way up. Because you can like, I mean, like think of like those crazy videos you see of like the chefs or something that are just like, you know, they can just cook up like a million things like perfectly, like super fast.
Like, let me look at this. I can pour and like twist around.
And there's no way you can do that without just, doing it so many times. And that's what I'm saying is I want to see that for parkour.
I feel you, dude. I'm excited for that too. We're doing the salt fucking off the wrist. For those listening, I'm super excited, dude. Like I was just saying before we started recording, like I kind of feel like I'm going through my first era where I'm like, oh, this is really hard. Like training is not what it was for me. And I'm like having to be more creative, and it's forcing me to like do challenges that are more upward or like just much less impact. And I'm learning how to condition myself better, and I'm learning just how weak I've always been actually. Like I'm just like, holy fuck, like no wonder my body hurts. I can't believe what I was getting away with back then, because there wasn't the same kinds of information, and it wasn't as obvious to me that I was like not conditioned. I thought because I was doing it, and everyone around me kind of looked the same-ish. It was like, okay, we're doing it right. But no, it's like there's a lot better ways to do it now.
And dude, it was like obvious. Max today. Remember he was talking about stretching his glute? He's like, when you stretch your glute, actually, you're supposed to keep your knee bent. And I'm like, as if I even know anything about stretching glutes at all. But it's like nice. He's like, I was doing it wrong for a long time. It's like, so you can be stretching yourself, and of course you're just going to think this is good for me. I'm doing good for me. I'm stretching. Like it's got to feel more flexible. It's got to be more, and then you could be, messing up like part of your knee because you're straightening it too much or something. Like, so it's, you really got to know like where you're at. And that's why also earlier I was talking about like sometimes less is more, because it's like people are like, I got to start conditioning super hard and doing all this stuff. It's like you can get overused that way easily. And like also if you're not conditioning right, you know, like if you have bad form or something, then you're just going to like put yourself in a worse place over time. Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I'm feeling that. And there's like so much to balance. Yeah, you need like certain amount of doses, and you need to like learn. You have to learn to listen to your body and all these things. That's why I like training parkour at least a lot for conditioning. If you're like, I want to get a lot of conditioning, just do a lot of parkour, because then you're not, you're not giving yourself a routine or anything, but you're like being active in a natural way, and like most of your body, or like in my case, like if I sprain my wrist or like mess my hands up, then I can do a mostly foot day or something. Like you're gonna have to be a little more careful. If I fall, like it might hurt a little more if I instinctively put my bad arm out or something. But like I think it's really fun to kind of just go out and train that way.
Definitely. And that's often where like the most innovation comes from, is from facing that injury.
Yeah, there's sometimes when I have an injury and I'm just like, nope, not like I can't get myself in the attitude, I guess, of wanting to train that day. Yeah. But then almost any time I do, then it's like it was worth it. Yeah. So like at first I'll think, oh, I can't hit like a prime or a peak, or I can't do anything that great because of this, so I should just wait. But then whenever I do the other thing, it'll almost make you work harder in the other thing. So like for me, it's like since my wrist has been messed up, like I've been doing just more jumping type stuff, and yeah, like I probably put more effort into the jumping stuff than I would in a normal day at all, just because I couldn't really use my wrist that much. So I'm able to develop like that stuff more, and like I don't know, just it's almost always better to go out when you feel like you shouldn't, in that way. Like at least at the end of it, I always feel good. Yeah. It's like ultimately it comes down to this kind of like doing things even if you don't want to. Yeah, like that's part of life. So if you can strengthen that muscle, then you just become more beastly in every way, you know? Yeah. You're just like, all right, cool, I can force myself to go out and then enjoy my time out there, and then you'll be like, all right, well, I'm just more creative now. Or you get your wrist back, but now all of a sudden you realize, because you worked your footwork so much, you can do this new thing with your wrist too now for some reason, you know? Like you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah, okay, cool, I guess I have this. Sick. And that goes beyond movement, I think, too, just with the areas that you can kind of, that's what I've experienced, at least in the last few weeks. Like I feel like, all right, even if I can't get myself to go out training, what can I get myself to do? Yeah. And like that sometimes is like what I'll explore. Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, yeah, sometimes that you'll almost start the exercise of trying to talk yourself out of whatever the thing is, and you're getting a bit of like a stimulation there and stuff, like trying to like find why you should or shouldn't evaluate. And then if you like, oh yeah, it's a bad idea, I just won't do it, and then you can feel good about not doing something bad for you or something. Yeah. But yeah, when it like, at least for me, when I'm like thinking over it in my head and stuff like that, like there's almost always like 10 times as many reasons to have been there than to have not, or to have gone and done the thing than to have not. But you almost never get to see those reasons until you've done it. So it's like a little like paradox in that way, where you're like, well, you never know, because it could suck. You could go and it's just the worst time, because that happens sometimes when you just like roll the dice, baby. Yeah, and obviously you're like, yeah, it's about your attitude, and sometimes but sometimes, you know, you're just not having it. Sometimes it actually it's just sucks. Not working. You're like, no, I just want to go home, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times, if you decide the whole I want to go home before you even go out, because you're feeling like it's gonna happen, then yeah, you're screwing yourself over. 100%. And yeah, that's parkour and just life, I feel like. Yeah, definitely. We were going to get into some other things. The Modus projects. We were on Modus projects. We got that. Then we're going to talk about SPL. It's true. Yeah, so I can't wait for the Modus projects thing to come out. I don't know what other like big things are coming out. Are there any? You know, like Storm's probably going to drop some things. Yeah, well, they're supposed to be doing 2 videos a month. That's what their new policy is. Yeah, that's what they said when they started the kind of new quality. They put one out this month was Madrid, and there's another one just whenever. I believe so. Did that come out early this month? I don't know. I'm not keeping super up on it. Maybe it'll be the Storm America. You never know. Maybe that'll be. I can't say anything about it. I would. I've been waiting. I've been waiting, Kai. God damn, yeah, I can't wait to see that stuff come out when it does. I still feel like parkour needs like a hit or at least, we need like a new hit documentary. Oh, like the last time we had our hits was when TV was still a big thing. It was like Jump London and Jump Britain, and like we have documentaries now, but they're more like under the radar, and they're not like the kinds that would bring people into parkour. That I feel like we're in a bit of a lull now, because almost everybody knows what parkour is. So it's like almost everybody already decided whether or not they wanted to be the parkour person or not. Mm-hmm. So it's like it'd be nice if there was a new thing to inspire people that already know what parkour is to actually take the leap to get. No, I hate that. To actually, take that first step to actually like doing it. You know what I mean?
I think what we're gonna see is, well, I don't know. I think it just takes time.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's going to take time. I think because parkour will replace a lot of what exists out there in fitness, because it is a better solution to a lot of people's desires than
I'm talking
what's
about
out there. But I think
as a sport like skateboarding or something though, like what's going to get people into skateboarding?
What's going to get them into it?
Yeah. It's not going to be
video games right now, right? Is helpful probably. And just
for the main point though, it's not going to be like people being like, oh, this is a new exercise. Like this is good. Like, It's like people are going to they're going to have a fire in them that wants to do that thing. And they may not even know why. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like we don't have...
Is it a video, like you're saying? Or I don't know that a documentary in skateboarding would get... I don't know, it's tough.
I'm not saying that it could be the same, but I feel like right now it's like, if there was some person around our age who didn't really know much about parkour and they wanted to know a lot, what would you send them on a link or something?
They wanted to know a lot.
They're like, I want to see what this world of parkour is, and you're passionate about sharing the world of parkour because you think it's cool.
That is a really good question.
Exactly. And there isn't like a standard easy thing to just send over that's going to just
I don't know if I should say anything, but I mean, come on, who's really listening? Like, I don't think they'll give a fuck, but I think Milo is actually working on something to this tune right now.
That's good.
In Portland, and I think Nick was telling me a little bit about he's going to be part of that, and maybe we'll go out there in July and rejoin.
Sick.
They're doing something like that.
I think just like
this could help. Like Move Mag is going to help that. What else could help? It's going to be in more movies and things. It's like it's tough.
But the thing I like about documentaries is it doesn't glamorize it. Like, it's just like, you can look it up on YouTube and spend like 2 hours, almost feel like you're hanging out with the guys doing it or whatever. And like,
I would probably point them to the store channel in some ways, I guess.
Yeah. But
that'd be a good,
but in the sense, like,
place to start.
Then when it comes to like training, it's like, it's not always explained to people. Like, it's hard to, like, I know there's not supposed to be, but you could, if you're just watching that one thing, you're gonna have this idea of what parkour is, and it's such a big thing that like you need a lot of context to explain quite what it is. Like, it's very hard to say, oh, it's just jumping on bricks and stuff, because it's not. Like, there's more than that. But then to say like, oh, it's also philosophy and stuff, it's like, it takes quite a while for somebody to actually wrap their head around of why people do it. Like, even Max was talking about how like,
well, I could point them to the Merm doc, because that kind of does a semi good, if nothing else, it shows that there's lots of different things that it includes.
Yeah, no, and I think that was like a really good, like one of the best ones there are. I just feel like we only have like 5 or 10 in the last 15 years.
It's tough, right?
And it's like, for how many parkour videos, other parkour content, if people would just be like, let's actually take some time to make a huge product as opposed to a small video or something.
Here's the thing though, is like, I don't know, it'd be tough. I wouldn't want to make a film to get people into parkour necessarily.
Well, that's the thing.
Like, if that's a goal of mine, then I feel like that would influence what it is, and I don't want to do that.
Then it would probably come off too much like a tutorial or something. Like, I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying is like, it could be just like one good thing that came out was the Modus projects. They had the Spit come out. Did you watch that?
Yeah. Well, that was like all the spinning element series,
but it was all edited in one video.
Yeah.
And like that right there was like, that was a really good piece. And that was like,
Keelan for being a beast, putting that together.
I could see that inspiring a lot of future practitioners. Like, I could see somebody not knowing what parkour is, watching that video,
evergreen content,
and they start after that day, basically. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's content that's harder to find on Instagram. And like, usually when you go longer form, that shows, because the real captivation of watching to the end, like if it's longer and somebody watches to the end, they're showing like you've hooked them in some way. They have this topic is something they're interested in. So I don't know what to say.
It's both sides, right? Though, because you could argue that some random clip from Pasha gets a shitload of people just into parkour because they're like, It's some random like Instagram
Does
clip
it though?
because they go, oh my god, he's awesome, and then they realize that he's a parkour athlete. Maybe eventually.
I feel like that, yeah, because like when I still talk to people, I don't hear that story. You know, when I ask like why you started parkour, it's almost always a longer content piece. It's not. It's not a clip of a jump. It's not like I saw a guy jump across the roof. No, it's like you're gonna have to see a lot more than that to be like, I want to do this whole thing. Usually.
I also think it might be the figures that come out of it that don't even necessarily stay into it. That's going to be a huge thing. Like I think we all kind of are in it and forever in it in some ways. Like the community, that's what I mean. The community expands into like areas of other communities that it would never reach. It penetrates by some guy becomes like some fucking, who knows, he starts running some crazy online business or something, and oh, by the way, like eventually he goes, yeah, I was a parkour athlete. You know, when I was younger I studied parkour, and that's how it influenced the way I thought about business, and that's why this is successful or something. And that will make people go, oh shit, like, you know, in some ways, like I think that could be a thing. That's maybe a little bit more further down the line, but I think that's
even
how you
further
seed,
down the line.
That's how you seed some shit.
Let me picture this. Further down the line.
Ooh, right. How far?
We're in a retirement home.
Oh, damn. We're old as... Okay, we gone.
And they got virtual reality headsets.
Okay.
And you got all the old people that used to do parkour, like watching videos on YouTube and stuff of parkour and doing virtual reality parkour. In a retirement home. What do you think?
I love it, dude. I always felt like that was partly what we were doing in some ways, is like we're writing the code for the parkour program that Keanu Reeves downloads in the Matrix by like putting out like our content in some ways. We're like showing what's possible. Yeah. And they go, oh shit, this is like the new martial art or whatever. Yeah. And I'm a nerd like that.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that, dude. Virtual reality is going to be huge. Plus the progression just getting so fucking insane is gonna like, it's gonna blow people's minds in a way one day that you all of a sudden you'll see like maybe a Tony Hawk kind of figure that just like transcends boundaries in a way that we've never seen before. It becomes like some sort of freak celebrity,
some sort of omniscient being.
But we also don't know. Like also there's like this sort of combative force of just the complete oversaturation of content and internet, like this the noise of the internet that exists right now. It's kind of,
that's why podcasts are nice, because it's just one thing. You're like, I just have to listen. Like I don't have to look at all the flashing lights and all that stuff. Like you can just chill out, and listen.
There's a lot of noise. You can be in a hammock. I spend some time in hammocks these days. I really like a hammock, you know?
Just chill out in hammock.
Hammock life.
Hammock and chill.
I think there's going to be a slight backlash against, like you're saying, like podcast is already kind of this shift in that direction of like, all right, we're it's too bright. Like, let's fucking calm down a little bit.
I think a lot of the kids that are growing up these days are going to turn out to be like electronic hipsters. You know what I mean? Like they're being taught right now that Facebook's bad and all that stuff. So it's like they may ditch it before a lot of us. Oh yeah. Like just as they're young, they're like, I only play a video game with a crank. I have to crank up my video games.
Dude, on that note, real quick, I gotta piss hard. I'll be right back. You gotta hold this fort down for us.
Oh my god, I'm holding down the fort under no knowledge. Well, I'm picking up the Move Mag. There's a Move Mag on the table, issue 1. So I'm holding down the fort. I'm gonna pick it up. I don't know if I should, read anything off of here. I don't want to steal the content, but it does feel nice. There's some magazine ASMR. The prints look good. The color looks good. The pictures look good. It just looks good, people. So Move Mag. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's an actual parkour magazine. That's right. There's a magazine out. Parkour. Right here.
I'm sorry, I hope you don't feel abandoned.
I feel so lonely and neglected.
What were you doing?
What does it look like I was doing? The first thing, the only thing in front of me. I didn't even read it. I just talked about it being good looking.
That's the beauty of flying under the radar with a podcast too. Is just like
you can just go pee.
You just go pee in the middle of.
To be fair,
I'd like to be more professional, but
I'm sure Joe Rogan could go pee too.
He's talked about it actually on his podcast. He's like said how he's developed sort of invincibility almost from having to do so many. Like
he just pees in his chair, dude. They only get him from the waist up.
No, it's super rare, but he will sometimes get up and have to go. But he's got a conditioned bladder of sorts.
Do you have a count of how many times you've gone to the bathroom while podcasting? Or somebody
it's
has?
It's probably in the single digits, but it's still not very
your phone
impressive.
Too. Your phone's
my phone. I'm getting there. Okay, guys. Give me a second.
Learning.
I'm learning as we go.
Dude,
along.
The fact that you have all this set up, really like the hard part. Like
no, this was easy, dude. You don't think so?
I remember when you and I tried to do the one thing with my computer and shit.
Oh
and it was
my god, that was such a nightmare. I want to do that again.
Yeah, it was a good idea.
We got to get that to pop.
Okay, I'm starting to think of other stuff to talk about.
Let's go.
All right. So let's talk about the sport parkour, league.
Let's talk about it.
So they're doing the qualifiers this summer at a bunch of different gyms. Some of them have already happened, including the Denver one, which I went to.
Holla.
It was awesome. That should be really exciting. The finals are going to be in Vancouver as usual. And what you were just saying about how another thing that I think, even though we were talking about a lot of noise in parkour, it's like we also could just use more good content, like you said, evergreen. Like one thing I was thinking that there isn't a lot of parkour is just more maybe even commentary / analysis on other people's stuff. And I know that sounds a little weird, but imagine if all these qualifiers actually had really good live streams. How big that would be just to help the finals be hype and a big thing with storylines they can build up throughout the commentary and all that. So I think a lot of parkour can get developed in a good way of just people filling in the gaps of places even if people I've seen more things of it coming out of people reviewing a video, they watch a video two guys and they're oh, this is I think that stuff's really good for parkour and
you want to do something?
Or a restream of analysis of commentary of something. So you couldn't go to an event, but you can live stream someone else's event. They give you permission, and then you can do your commentary or analyze it, watch it with your viewers or your audience. You know what I mean? Stuff you see more in video games where it's I don't know. I always thought it was weird that people can really idolize video game people, and people can really idolize parkour people, but video game people on Twitch and live streaming, it's that's a huge thing. People love to watch it, but for parkour, it's if you've ever tried to live stream a parkour session, it's kind of hard because it's really tiring. And also it's are you going to come talk and stuff like that. But it's if you're a parkour person and you're commentating over, a competition or something where the action is quick and then you're actually adding to it, that's stuff I feel we could definitely stand to see. So yeah. And if there are good live streams or coverage of the NAPC, more qualifiers are going on, I'd like to at least analyze or go over some of them just because I'm going to watch them anyways,
I'm with you 100%. I love doing that stuff. We did the Air Whip Companion.
Yeah.
And it didn't go because it was my first time trying to use OBS, and it was my first time trying to live stream, and it just kind of shit.
It's a barrier of entry too. But there's definitely some people in the parkour community I would love to watch stream. There's definitely gotta be a few athletes that you just are a fan of.
Oh yeah.
That even if they're not watching their own that's the thing. You could watch your own videos and do commentary. You can watch other people's videos. You can watch competitions, and then also what people like to do is just hang out with those athletes and stuff online. You know what I mean? So it's I feel that's a whole place in parkour that's underdeveloped, but YouTube's starting to do streams now.
And I want to get my stream going.
A big thing was Twitch was all gaming before, and they've switched to now that you can stream anything on there. But now YouTube YouTube does streaming now too. So it's like before a couple of years ago, it was harder to. I remember when I did the Air Whip challenge, like they first tried starting to stream it on Twitch, and then they got like booted off.
No, really?
Yeah.
But that's so exclusive.
But I was like, it would be so much nicer if the Air Whip challenge could just be streamed on Twitch every year, or the Red Bull Art of Motion, because also with the viewers, like they have the discovery page on the front, and then like if it gets a lot of people watching, it'll get up on there.
Yeah.
So like if there's a big parkour event and it's on Twitch and like 50,000 people were to tune in, or 100,000 people, that's a lot obviously per parkour.
Yeah.
But if they did, then it'd be on the front page, and then boom, snowballs, and a lot more people can, because if NAPC was on Twitch, I think a lot of people would click it and just watch. And then other streamers can host it. There's like so many different things. I feel like live streaming for parkour competition is super important.
I agree with you. And I want, like selfishly, I want to, even just because I don't want to edit videos. I'd rather do more live streaming so that it goes up, it stays on, and it just is published after I hit the stop button or I'm like sign off. And like, that's actually less work, and it'd be helpful to do more stuff.
Yeah.
And it'd be, I'm also interested in it. I think it's cool.
It's just a setup. But
let's fucking do something right now, dude. Let's watch a video and fucking analyze.
But then you'd have to put it on that screen too. Plus this is a podcast, so then the people that are just listeners are kind of screwed.
Yeah. Fuck.
You got to think about these things.
I mean,
just get.
It's true.
Just like, all right, he's jumping in.
He's jumping.
Looks about.
I did that though. Literally, I watched the Storm video, the Storm Madrid video,
I saw that.
and I was like, yeah, maybe if I point this at that, it'll work. But yeah, no, it's logistically, but like with OBS,
too,
like again, so like I'm just gonna shut up and start doing on that one, because it's doable.
Yeah,
it is doable.
And the other thing is, like, this is one thing I've experienced with live stream stuff, at least. Like, it's really scary to fail in a live stream environment. Yeah. Because it's live. Yeah. So it's like, if you go up live and your audio's crap, or your stuff is lagging, and then people are seeing that, it feels, to me, like I have the idea of being embarrassed every second it's live. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the same thing as if you're embarrassing yourself on live TV. Like, it's different than embarrassing yourself like in your own house and you recorded it, and then you could like edit the recording or delete it or something. It's like, so yeah, for a live stream, for me, it's like, I'm always scared about getting the setup perfect, like making sure everything's working before it goes on, and then I'm paranoid right when I go on, making sure everything's good. But yeah, once you get past all that and it's all cruising, then yeah, you can get in the flow of it, and it's actually really nice to be like, oh, and people pop in and out, and you can talk to them and stuff like that.
Do you think that, like, what is what's the connection? I probably have to have a hard wiring almost, I feel like, to do it properly.
Ethernet?
Like an Ethernet cable. Because I think that's where we got in trouble last time, is like the Wi-Fi, over the Wi-Fi. It was just too much for my laptop. My laptop's 5 years old.
If you're streaming, you usually want to be over Ethernet. Although you can make it so it like delays. Yeah. Because a lot of it also can just be the computer has to process it.
I did some more tests solo after that. That worked a little bit better. Yeah. But like I still have to play with a lot of settings. Like, it is just kind of a beast. Like, you have to.
It takes a setup, and like the computer has to be decent, especially if you're doing like, luckily we're not also doing video games, so the computer doesn't have to run the game and run the stream. It just has to run like maybe a YouTube video or a Twitch video in the stream, but it still takes like considerable, it's some grunt work for a PC to stream constantly while also doing all the other stuff. So it takes a setup, but I think we'll get there.
We'll get there, baby. I definitely want to get there. I'd like to replace this with a more powerful machine.
Just think of 5 of your favorite parkour athletes that you like their content. And imagine if just each of them streamed once a month. Yeah. That content will be there forever, as long as they don't put it on somewhere where it deletes. Yeah. And then like, only 5 people once a month makes a lot of stream time. Like, that's hours and hours of content that's different than our normal parkour content. But it's, so it's like not that many people doing it, and then you could have like a pretty big audience for it.
Did you see Pedro? How's Pedro's? Because he was doing a lot of streaming.
Really? No, I haven't seen that.
Pedro was doing a lot, and I don't know if he's still...
Is he doing it out there?
He put a lot on his plate. He was like, I'm putting out live streams every day, and then a new video every... like... He had a new video type to come out for every day of the week. Wow. And it was like 4 live streams a week, and then like 1 piece of content and 1 tutorial, and then like maybe a day off.
That's kind of the thing though, is like, when it comes to a lot of streamers, they're streaming like every day. Like like big game streamers, if they go to an event for the video games they play and stream, they'll lose money because they lose subscribers and stuff during the weekend when they're not streaming.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's like always a constant grind. So it could make sense why he's trying to stream really regularly, because that's one way to get a lot of people. It's they just always know you're there, you know?
It looks like 2 months ago it kind of might have dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds like too much. I mean, it sounds like
he kept it going for a minute. Like he was crushing it. I mean, goddamn, Jojo, you're a fucking beast. Salgado, yeah.
Okay.
He's one of those gurus in the making. Oh, yeah. I feel like he's been in it for a minute, and he is just a wizard. But yeah, I think the game's gonna change too. Like ultimately, because like I'm saying, like I think that there's so much out there that it's gonna become more segmented in some ways, which is fine. Like it'll be rarer to see like this Tony Hawk event. Yeah, it's gonna be harder for it to happen. It seems like to me the more the internet is like just kind of, we're all just kind of realizing a lot more about like what's out there, and it just doesn't feel as special in some ways. Like everything feels ridiculously unique, obviously, because it is, but it's just, there's just so much like, you know, it's harder than ever to stand out in some ways, I guess, because
I mean, yeah,
everyone stands out. Like everyone's
that's true. It's like, you know, it's like anything you pick, you can really get all of it now. Yeah. You're like, oh, I want to learn about tennis, or like, well, Google it. Yeah. Like have fun. Like, you know, like, so it is kind of weird in that way, where it's just like, well, you have everything at your fingertips, which that's also the good thing about like people that you would see in parkour is like, they chose it over everything essentially. Like, there's not a lot of things you couldn't do if you can do parkour, like when it comes to sports and stuff, at least. Oh yeah. So it's like people that chose, no, I want to develop my skill here, like says a lot about like some of its lasting power. And then also just
100%.
the way it can be like, it's such a lifelong sport compared to a lot.
Yeah.
Like lots of sports are like, you know, you're used up tissue after a couple of years, and like retirement is a word, you know what I mean? Like we don't even have like, nobody's even joked about retiring in parkour yet. You know what I mean? It's like we've got some people having kids, but
we got some daddies.
There's nobody on
daddies on the way.
Yeah, we got some daddies,
some babies, some PK babies.
Like, yeah, my parkour 401k, time to cash out and go to Hawaii and never vault again.
Well, yeah, it's not a job, right? So it's like, it's not,
yeah,
it's a, like, I mean, it's just like any discipline, like it's a lifelong endeavor if you want it to be.
I know, but I just feel like a lot of people like stick in parkour a little bit longer. Like they may not be training every day, but they'd still be like, yeah, I'm a parkour guy, more than maybe somebody like they did basketball or they did gymnastics. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, after they like get out of their schooling stuff, or what, you know, college leagues and stuff, they're like, I did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like, if I didn't go pro, then I don't do it anymore.
I actually don't know that we're that much different in some ways. I think we are, but we're also like we're, you know, as parkour develops, we're going to get more people that are like that. Yeah. The only way for it to get bigger is to get more people that just kind of try it out and put it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying though, is we do that like the most. Like we can just try it out, but like, because it's so intrinsic to just what a human being is, like we don't have to go to a facility. It's like if you're climbing a fence, like you're doing parkour to a lot of people. So like probably in your own head too, you could easily say, yeah, I'm a parkour guy. Once I started, I'm always one. Yeah. As opposed to someone saying like, I used to be a diver, but I don't go to the pool anymore.
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I used to be a gymnast, but I don't show up at the gym anymore.
Yeah, if you train any parkour for any amount of time, like you can't even walk down the street without kind of going like, like just like get up on the curb for a second. Did you like
dude, we saw that dude doing it earlier.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're not wrong. I actually agree with you 100%. That is super interesting. Yeah, like even in skateboarding, it's like, all right, well, your skateboard breaks one day and you're just like, I'm just not gonna buy a new one.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
But like
it's true
with
though.
parkour, you're like, I fucking
your shoes break,
I just
but
do
you're
it.
like,
Yeah.
okay, time to train with shitty shoes or no shoes for a while. Like, like it's not the same. Like a penny board doesn't fall from the sky for you to start working with. Like,
yeah, no, that's super interesting. I wonder if that's like true for like yoga or something. Like even yoga, you don't really need anything, or meditation. People that meditate,
a lot of these like more lifelong things are younger, at least to the Western audience. So it's like even in Boulder, I don't see a bunch of like 70-year-old yogis walking around. You know, like I'm sure they're out there.
Oh, they're out there.
But yeah, it's hard to find. Like a lot of these things seem so young that like it's gonna be so weird in like 50 years. Like all the like senior pro athletes and like what sports they did compared to like the people 50 years before and 50 years before and stuff like that. Like, it's like a lot of sports are gonna like. Well, also the reason people do sports is gonna change because like some people are like. Are now only going to do it because of social media, which didn't exist, you know, to get people into sports. So it's like, I mean, I would have been able to start doing parkour really when I did if I didn't find it on the internet.
Yeah, I mean that's probably true. Yeah, I mean for me I was lucky enough that there was just enough people around doing it that's when I got involved.
But where'd they find it?
Well, where they find it? On the line, on the forums. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like a lot of sports, like it's going to be stuff that can permeate over the internet. Well, that's going to be like more popular in the future. Like, say kendama, because all you got to do is buy a kendama and then you can do everything you've seen in every video ever pretty much. Right. So it's like, it's like that. You're not, you know, like people can go, oh, that lines up with all of my life. And I never knew it existed till right now. Mm-hmm. But they get a lot of those like options to look at. I guess
there's a lot of options now.
Yeah,
it's fascinating, and I think like you're saying, like there's some certain intrinsic qualities that it will make it replace certain other things.
Yeah,
like eventually it becomes like everything's kind of like this. And then eventually there might be a new thing that comes along that kind of makes parkour feel like it's not as relevant to just the human race. Mm-hmm. Or maybe parkour changes in a way that it is still parkour and it is the most like one of the most I mean, I don't know, like that would be like how we turn into robots or something, like because like you said, it's just our bodies. So like, I don't know how you divorce it from what, you know, it means to be healthy in some ways now for people that discover
it's
movement.
Weird. Sometimes I think of it all as these like general like speed running, like video game speed running, but in real life. Whereas like it's not, speed running is not exactly like a race because you're usually just racing. You're just trying to get your best time. Yeah. So in parkour it's like that, but you're not always trying to get your best time. You're just trying to get your best run. Mm-hmm. And like in speed running, usually the best time correlates with the best run. You know what I mean? Like if you hit all your marks perfect, you're like, yeah, it was a really good run. I feel like parkour is a lot like that. You're like, okay, here's the thing I want to do. And then like each step you're trying to like make each step good and like maybe even make them better or like develop the steps, but like hitting those marks. I don't remember where I was going with this, but like, yeah, I think like a lot of the joy in it for me is like you could take your body out of it because I can do the same thing in a video game. Of like, of course I'm controlling the video game, but it's just the saying of like the idea of I set this idea of doing this up and now it's being completed. And then like when you stack those together, then it gets more satisfactory for some reason. Mm-hmm. You know, almost like playing a song on piano. Like you have to hit the right keys. Mm-hmm. And when you hit lots of right keys in a row at the right timings and everything, it's like very satisfying. Yeah. I feel like, so in that way, like a joy I get from parkour can be almost applied to a different other stuff. But parkour is like in the definition, you have to talk about like the person too.
Well, we're still figuring it out too, right? Like it's like you're saying, like as these things evolve, when you get the guru in 10 years or 20 years from now, that's going to be when we start to really understand what it actually all is. Yeah. Because right now it's still pretty young. It's super young in a lot of ways.
And people don't like it's good now that we have podcasts to talk about this stuff, but I feel like for a while, like people weren't even talking about that side of parkour. Like when Instagram's and video in, like people just wanted to see it.
Yeah.
They just want to see it. Like nobody wanted to talk about it. They just want to see it.
Dude.
And there's still a lot of people that in the past couple of years did some of the craziest stuff we've seen, and we haven't heard them talk about it really.
No, that's interesting. Who would you want to hear from?
I mean, just imagine like I don't know, like just like some of the craziest tricks that got landed, and then like having a podcast and be like, what was your mind state around that time? Especially if it was close to it. Like, people don't really care that much about what the athlete was thinking when they were doing the move, as much as they care about the move right now. Like, which is crazy because it's going to be a different mental process for everybody, but like you could learn a lot like from hearing the exact things they were thinking right before they did something like that. And you could be like, oh, it actually isn't that different. Or maybe it was different, you know, like I think that stuff could be interesting too. Cause I think parkour philosophy got stunted for a while.
Yeah.
Like we had forums way back in the day where everybody talked about it. And like, you know, people would be yelling at Daniel Baca for being like, everything is parkour. Football is parkour. Washing the dishes is parkour. You know, and people will be like yelling back and forth about that. And now it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, but you see that thing on Instagram? Like I feel like so many parkour like conversations lead to somebody whipping out their phone. It's kind of like what Max was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
where he's like a lot of that actually is a funny thought that like you could go to a parkour session and be embarrassed. Because you just see a bunch of people they're all filming each other.
Yeah, we look like tourists sometimes.
It's so funny. I mean, I haven't been into a parkour gym like that in a long time. So
no, I haven't either.
But I know that's happening. But the fact that we
are talking about it and we're just, you know, that's been a topic on the other podcast that Farang does on, and Jason talked about how Instagram is, well, you know, we're all concerned with where it's going and where we want it to go. And like you said, that's awesome that we're like, okay, let's get back to
more thoughtful
let's grow
content
for a little bit.
Like,
let's get
you can look at parkour and listen to someone talk. It doesn't always have to be music. like I don't know. I think just more insight, because like when I was training maybe a week ago or something, there was like two guys, they were like two missionaries that came, they like were walking through and just stopped for like 20 minutes to watch me and Cameron train. And like just the questions they were asking were like funny, you know, like at first, like, you know, they're asking, do you guys need Ninja Warrior, that kind of stuff. But like then you would start to notice all the things they didn't notice. So like one thing, like they would just ask little questions that would make me start explaining the challenge to them, because they're just, you know, kind of normal people walking by. They don't understand why we're jumping from here to there and what makes it interesting or whatever. But they would just ask a little question. They'd be like, oh, well, yeah, like, you know, it's kind of hard, but when you switch to one foot, it's like way, way harder. And, you know, just like stuff like that, that's like, when you say it, they'll be like, oh, that makes sense, but they don't know why, really. So then when you can dive into it and be like, oh, because you have to swing your other leg, focus on all this stuff, and like then they can get more into the depth of it, even as someone they didn't get up there and start trying it or start jumping. They kept walking, you know what I mean? Like later they just walked away, but they still like were able to learn and like delve into a world that they couldn't really have access to before, because they didn't have that person to answer the questions they were asking. And I feel like a live stream or something like that, people can kind of say those little things about mindset stuff or things that you're thinking in the moment or the ways you like run through stuff, and it could just help like a lot of people just learn, or like not even in parkour, because like I think a lot of things you learn through parkour are useful in all of life. And if you can translate that to a normal life thing or like a person, then like they could easily benefit from it too. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, especially if you dive real deep on something. I mean, everything has, what is it? I mean, there's a little famous quote that's like that. It's like, if you know one thing well, you know everything. Yeah. In a certain way. Like you've developed a relationship. If you speak one language really, really well, you understand all languages and kind of how they work. Yeah. What's one of the gnarliest things you've done that you like and what the mindset was?
Ooh, see, it's hard if it's not super recent, because I'm just I've been here forever. But I actually just thought of one. Actually, this was when I was kind of young. I don't remember how old I was, but it was when I was going to do my first double side flip outside. So nice. So that was a big deal back then, you know, and like yeah, I just remember like I'd thought about it a lot, but I just never like put in any effort towards actually doing it. And then like one thing I really liked to do then when I was doing flips outside is like I knew that if I did it in the gym and then like immediately went outside, like it was so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like the longer you wait between the last time you did it inside and outside does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And this was before, you know, taking mats outside or anything. So like we didn't have any of that. It's like you had to go to the gym and it wasn't even a wall into a foam pit to do my double side. It was like I was still doing double sides off a trampoline.
Yeah.
So I'm doing double sides off a trampoline and then pretending it's like a wall, you know, and like hoping. And yeah, I just remember being super anxious that night and like trying to visualize it in my head, like picture it from a first person perspective, what it's going to look like the spot that I've been to. And then, yeah, I just woke up the next day and I was like I think I was just really happy. Like the night before I was anxious, but then the day I woke up, we were like all jamming and I was stoked. And then like, I just remember, yeah, when that moment arrived, it felt perfect. You know what I mean? Like I was prepared. I wasn't forcing it, but like everything seemed to line up. And then, yeah, I did it. And it was like, oh, okay. Like everything kind of paid off in the fact, and especially like really working it the night before, like, maybe even that's part of the anxiety was I was splitting the idea into 2 different days, you know, and then like settling on it overnight.
Well, I think, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I think like that is universal, that experience, and it does apply to everything like you're saying. And it's just like, I think anxiety is part of that. I sometimes struggle with it because you don't want to feel like you're negative. You don't want to feel like you're not dwelling in that. But also like everyone deals with it differently. But for me, like I have to think of all the worst case scenarios. I have to understand them before I can like willingly go into something that's sketchy. Yeah. Or not that could be perceived as sketchy. I don't
remember where I heard this or how true it is or whatever, but I swear I heard something that like your brain's like always like just thinking of horrible things that can happen. Yeah. Like, so then it can then condition yourself, say like, oh, don't, or like, you know, like the idea of, oh, should I jump off this balcony right now? And you know how you get that weird idea of like, oh, I just want to do it, but you really don't want to do it. That's your brain like conditioning you to say, no, you don't want to do it. Yeah. It has to say, should I first? And then like, you don't. And like that is like a good thing to do in parkour too, is to say like, well, could I mess myself up in this horrible way? But then once you feel like you know all the bad options, then it's easier to avoid them. Yeah. If you're just tunnel visioned on the right way, then when it doesn't happen the exact way you expect it, because it never does, then like you're not as prepared for those like unconditioned options, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a weird balance you got to strike, because I think you can't achieve much. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's struggle in everything, right? So there's going to be anxiety around doing your first double the side flip, and it's either going to happen like you could choose to go through it the night before, or you can choose to go through it like 10 minutes before you're about to do it. You know, like
now I feel like I have less anxiety. I mean, I'm older and stuff, and I deal with it all differently, but then I think a lot of it too was like parkour pressure, you know, like the idea of a double side was big. So like now maybe somebody learning a double side outside would not have as much anxiety as me, because it's not that like, so what, you know, seen it a million times, a bunch of people have done it or
George
something
does
like
them
that.
On flat now.
Yeah. So like for me then it was like, I mean, that's what a lot of anxiety is I made it to be this bigger deal in my head. But I think in a way that also gave me a relief like no other when it was done. You know what I mean? Because I built up the anxiety, and sometimes you just never build it up. But
what I'm saying is like
conquering that,
caring about something,
that feeling can feel really good too.
It's hard to care about something without introducing the potential for negative emotion. Yeah. If you don't introduce positive,
well, you gotta start feeling strongly, you know, and once you start feeling strongly, you start drawing lines. And you say, this is it, and like that can be good and bad. But in a parkour situation, like you should draw lines, like at least in your own confidence of saying like, this is what I can do, this is what I won't do, and like it's good to play on those lines, but in the moment when you're going for it, you want to be kind of confident.
Yeah, exactly, and it's. I think like the universe, like to extrapolate that to life, whatever, is just like, okay, well, if you're going to choose a goal, then yeah, you risk failure, you know, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And that can be anxiety inducing. And like, I think eventually as you like learn that that's not helpful, that's when you can start to transcend that, like, and not really engage with those emotions so much. And just be like, yes, okay, that's the anxiety. That's the
learning, like,
you go, okay, that's
like,
the fear. That's the anxiety.
When I do this makes me anxious. Like, and then learning to like, you know, play around it. And to a point, it's like you're always gonna get anxious. There are always gonna be things that do that. But like, if you realize you're getting like really, really anxious every time you're driving to a session or something, then like, you might not be like training, like in that session might not be like, you know, like you shouldn't be like freaking yourself out every time.
No.
Like, I think it's okay to get anxious while training and then go past it. Like, I'm not one of those guys that says like, if you feel anxiety or whatever, the second you have to be calm and you have to like, I understand the calm mindset, but it's like, sometimes you're doing some stuff, your heart's going to get beating.
Everyone works off a different software. Yeah. Slightly.
But I also think like that's what I'm saying is if I just feel calm in something and then I do it, as opposed to like I feel a little anxious about it and then I do it, like I do think you will get more gratification from directly conquering that anxiety or that fear.
Yeah, you're more operating at your edge.
As opposed to saying I'll come back when it's gone.
No, I agree with you 100% because like that's really the other end of the spectrum is like, okay, you could be anxious all the time, not very good. Yeah. Completely comfortable all the time, you're probably not getting better or growing.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
You know, internally or externally. If you're not trying to push yourself a little bit. And yeah, if you're playing that edge, that's like the, you know, whatever. That's like where you would find meaning is what some people would say now. And like, there's a whole bunch of...
It's just interesting because like everybody that... I mean, of course it's more than parkour, but like it's interesting to see people on parkour are on a spectrum of like... Some people like to get in that anxious spot and like challenge it, conquer it and stuff like that. And then there's other people who are like... They're like, that's not what parkour is to me. Like, they're like, my challenge, the things I conquer are in a completely different area in my brain almost or something. Yeah. Like... And yeah, that's the example of like people are like, oh, I only do stuff if I'm... you know, completely level-headed. Although I feel like that gets played up just because people want to sound like, you know, it's like...
I'm zen as fuck.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure like every parkour athlete has probably like started getting their heart beating and then still maybe even done the jump.
Yeah, no, it's like, well, and it changes. That can change.
Yeah.
Like your motivations and the way you experience, like it's changed for me a lot because I used to run off of a little bit more of a certain kind of motivation.
No, I know that feeling
like,
too.
You know, is taken in a different direction, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, just
it's more zen.
The feelings you go into, like with the session, like can just it'll produce a different movement product. Like I remember when I was younger too, I would like I had a couple angry sessions, and like they were good for progression, but I remember also like I would like. I remember one time I broke a rail, you know, like on an angry session. It's like, if I took the time to like check everything out and stuff, I probably wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? So it's like, but at the same time, it's like the rail above it that I was actually trying to jump to. It's like, that was the first time I did it ever, you know? So it's like the different kind of mentalities and emotions you're bringing into your session, and you can't always control that. They can be really good for like different products. And like, obviously if you're angry, don't go around being a dick to people, but like, that anger, that fire of like, oh, I want to punch someone in the face. It's like, that can be a pretty productive energy when you just put it into a jump and you're not hurting anybody or the rail in my case.
But it can also get you into trouble. If that's your go-to well for energy, then all of a sudden you're always training energy. Fire.
I'm talking about it from like, the whole color wheel of emotions. Like never sticking
Nick
red
actually
too
mentioned
much.
that on the last episode. Is that's like when he blasted his leg it was an angry session because you lose focus. When you're in that
that's
mode.
what I'm saying is
and
like it can be a lot easier to commit. But like sometimes you shouldn't be committing.
Exactly.
So sometimes when you're on that line of like, you know, you should be committing, but you can't, and then you get really angry, and then you can, then you're like, okay, fine, problem solved. But yeah, if you don't know if you should be committing, then forcing yourself to commit is a tricky situation. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's really cool to try and like experiment with the spectrum of all the colors of emotions.
Well, I think that's
into different sessions, and you play off the other people's emotions too. Like
definitely,
obviously, whoever you go train with, if they're down or if they're up or whatever they're doing, they're going to influence you because we're social animals.
Well, and Max mentioned like how he's not filming anything right now.
Yeah,
and like I think, and I took a break from Instagram, and I might, and I think that's why you see someone like Ilabako, for example, who's on this cover of Mood Mag in front of us. He was like, don't film me, like. When you start to realize what your motivations are, sometimes you want to put space between you and that to figure out like what your engagement with it ought to be.
I agree with that.
And you all of a sudden go, okay, I do this, maybe I do this angry, and I don't like that I always use the anger. So I'm going to stop doing training angry at all until I can really master it. Yeah. Or I want to whip my dick out on Instagram, is the way Max put it, So I'm going to film this. I notice myself always filming clips, and I'm going to go, okay, you know what? I actually don't like that. That's part of why I start to train. So I'm going to not let myself film anything or not let myself post anything for a little while to understand that when I engage with it, it's on my terms and not whatever. And I think that's interesting. That you see certain figures in any community, but we've certainly seen it with Ilabaka and people like Tim Sheaf even, or the founders of, like you could say, like distance themselves in some ways from and their philosophy. That's why I'm like fascinated by with the philosophy of parkour and like how it's going to evolve is it starts to take you in a different direction sometimes than the movement, and always it's going to be a part of that, but like we're figuring out what the philosophy really still is. Yeah. And sometimes the philosophy, I think, guides you away from an everyday practice that looks a lot like what everyone else is doing. And it looks all of a sudden more like, I don't know, we're still figuring it out, but it fascinates me.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like I always feel weird, like when I have to bring it up, or even saying the word parkour plus philosophy together. It's like, well, I think nobody says like skateboarding philosophy. It's like, of course there is some like chess philosophy or tennis philosophy. There is philosophy to everything, but like
ultimately it's just philosophy.
It is a huge thing in parkour.
I think,
it's because like one thing is it's not competitive. So like you're going to have to find your own motivations. Like in a way, like it's like, the difference between Minecraft and all the video games that came before it. It's like Minecraft, like you didn't really have a thing to do. It was just like here. And then it's like, if you want to do something, you can do it. But there's not like any part in the game that's going to reward you or anything really for doing it. And like parkour is kind of like that, where a lot of sports are more like they were set on that traditional of, if you beat the other person, you win, and you like that, and like, stuff like that. And then parkour is like, that like the concept of the other person like changes, and the concept of what winning is changes, and the concept of why you want to win and all that kind of stuff is so different than like most traditional sports. And like, of course there's tons that are, I see it similar.
As like sort of, I think it's like, it's not surprising because of what you're saying that a lot of parkour practitioners are really interested in philosophy. Yeah. And like really it's a very cerebral sport because even though it's completely like an embodiment kind of experience, you're like always trying to like feel yourself in flow. It's
you're always like testing your hypothesis like in real time.
Exactly.
So it's like, you're doing like little scientific experiments with the one thing you can actually control, and you're testing it with all the variables that aren't you, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you're doing that, you start to develop philosophy, like that's like what it is, and you're starting to figure out like, oh shit, it's really interesting. But I'm fascinated to see where it goes. Like I don't know how it will contribute to the overall like world of philosophy, like if at all, probably not. Like
it's interesting in some ways,
but
I swear
there'll be some hybridization, I'm sure.
Like I hate to say it, I'm sure it's cliche and stuff, but like have you ever heard somebody say like, oh, there's something about you because you do parkour or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you parkour guys have something interesting, like that. Like I think there is something about it that makes us much more maybe aware of our surroundings or something that like other people can pick up on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, definitely.
I think we're really like in contact, in tune with
certainly
the
our
universe.
culture has certain.
That sounds so weird.
Certainly, our culture has certain unique qualities that are not going to be found in other cultures.
Yeah,
and
like
I don't necessarily. I think I think you probably could identify it as an outsider and be like, oh, you might be like, especially as
I feel like
more
we're
ubiquitous.
A lot more animalistic in a lot of ways. I mean, just the way we would like. I would say just the way a parkour person might walk through a room could catch someone's eye just because they will maybe do it slightly differently or in some way that's like informed through parkour. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like just everyday things can be informed through your parkour ideals or philosophy, and then other people could pick up on it just because it's different than the crowd.
But also because people are so different, because I think we are a sport or whatever, God damn it. I hate like, we don't even have a word for it yet. But whatever we are, an art form, discipline, blah, blah, there's so much uniqueness inside it. And there's so much diversity inside it that to actually pin down and to say someone is a parkour person is almost something you can't do.
You can't.
And
I mean, we can't even split between parkour and free running.
Dude.
So it's like...
I don't feel like a parkour person, necessarily. I know
when
that
I say that, I just mean a person who does it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mean like
I know
a person who's parkour
or like a martial artist. Like I think like we share some things like a martial artist. Like we might lean in that category, or like someone who's like health conscious, or we're kind of like blending. Our sport it's such a huge umbrella for so much. That it is like, that's why Ilbaka is like washing dishes is parkour, and like it almost like is like this. It's so big, it's like almost nothing at all. It's like
but it can still have a lot of meaning and like.
I agree,
and it can be, I mean,
it's so all-encompassing.
It can be enriching too for youth, and I mean not just for youth, but it can just be enrich people's lives.
What's crazy about it is that it almost makes people more individual. It like I think that that's part of what we want to do.
I could see that.
I think like parkour people are more individual. I mean, even though we also really value community. When you see people go training,
it's not like everybody's playing follow the leader. You know what I mean? Like everybody usually just goes and finds their thing that's suited to them. Yeah. Like, because that's where the real challenge lies. If you're 4 foot tall, like your challenge is going to be different than somebody who's taller or shorter. Like,
it's a really unique hybridization.
It is cool when you can like meet the challenge at somebody else's different but like also people's backgrounds, like their own mental psychology, the way they get through, like all that stuff is different. So it's like to everybody, it's a different game in a way. Yeah. Like,
yeah, that's so fascinating because it is more. It's so that's why I see it as very much like an art form. Yeah, because it's like you can draw a through line pretty easily between maybe like black belts in some kind of discipline or like boxers or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little bit more specialized. But with parkour, it's so big. It's such an art in a way. It's like, you have Picasso and Da Vinci and Monet and like painters almost. It's like there's not much necessarily you can necessarily, I don't know, like they like almost the qualities become a little bit higher tier in some ways of like, okay, they all are innovative or something.
And they start developing their own philosophies
and they start developing their own,
like they say like this is what a good painting is, or this is what makes paintings special or something. But they don't say it by saying it, they say it through their own art form.
It's through expression.
And we do the same thing, and that's actually something I just thought was like why it's interesting how like some people are like going against Instagram and stuff, but it's like, I'm sure if I was somebody that really was into dancing, like I would want to share my dances. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like with parkour, like I want to share my parkour. Yeah. So it's like, but I would say I can't, like I'm not much of a dancer, but like if you did a dance video, you're not always just trying to like brag with dancing. You know what I mean? You're not just trying to say I'm the best dancer. Like nobody's ever going to say who's the very best dancer. Yeah. And like sometimes with parkour, we try to always just equate it. Who can jump the furthest? Who's the best? Who's the best? Who's the best? But it's like, it's the same thing as with dancing. Like a lot of these people just like to do their thing and they also like to share it with other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I understand. Like one thing though is like that you probably don't get in dancing versus parkour is the people that do it for the camera. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I won't dance, but once you get the camera out, then I'll do my best moves, you know? But it's like sometimes people don't do the jump for the first time until the camera's out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like if you're not ready to do it like 5 times before the camera's out, then why are you doing it once? And but some people just want to get the one.
Like, I don't know. I might disagree. Like, well, maybe I need to take a second look at it too. But yeah, no, I feel you. But I think also if you're gonna do something that you might not get to do 5 times, or you might not want to do 5 times. Like I've done like roof gaps, and it's like I've played with that, and I'm like, no, for that, okay, I definitely divorced myself from the camera being involved in my decision to do it. But that's I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, like film it, because
that's also something that you could get in trouble for and like get kicked out and all that stuff. I'm talking more if it's like if you go to 2 benches and you find a pretty scary jump. And it's just 2 benches, nobody walking or watching or whatever. And then you're like, all right, I'm looking to jump, like jumping near it. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to do it. Get the camera. Then it's like, you know, like, are you actually training parkour? Because if you just do that one once it's filmed and then you're done, like what was the goal? Because like if somebody was sharing their dance, like they're probably not just going to one bang the dance. You know what I mean? And then be like, oh, that's good enough. But with so many times we'll go, oh, he did it on that one bang.
One bang.
We're out of here. It's interesting. I'm not trying to like talk bad on anybody, right? I just think it's an interesting thing to think about.
No, it is interesting. And like
motivations of why we film, and
no, it's very interesting.
Especially for me, who's been I made videos before I did parkour. I like literally like filmed stuff on VHS tapes and like.
Oh yeah, me too.
So like when I transitioned into parkour, it was just obvious for me to make parkour videos.
I was so the
when
same
YouTube
way.
transitioned to Instagram, it was just obvious to also put my stuff there. Yeah. But a lot of people, I think, they like I stayed on YouTube where I liked or I like made the same content, whereas like some people moved to Instagram and then stopped YouTube and just post on Instagram, which. I mean, you can do what you want, but I prefer like, I mean, it's like if you compare it to paintings, like, or movies or something, it's like a short movie or one scene versus a whole film or an actual like huge painting. Like if you're giving people little like digestible content, like it's serving a different purpose almost. Like it can't have like they're not going to have time to start correlating the clips together and like thinking about it as this product, and like that's a really special part of it for me personally.
Yeah, and I think that goes hand in hand with the era that you were a part of and are still a part of, you know.
Well,
but like,
I grew up in like MySpace, YouTube coming up, dude.
The cyclical nature of like each generation, just I feel like again with the internet, it feels like it's speeding up. Yeah, and it's like, okay, we went through like 5 golden ages already. Dude, you know, it's like there's the golden age of like the forums, like and then the
Bitcoin
YouTubes,
charts,
and then
dude,
the
it looks like that too. It's just like the Bitcoin charts. It's just like, oh, here's the same cycle. Yep. But now it's just getting squeezed into a shorter time period. But it's the same cycle. Like
big time, dude. And that's
technology.
That's technology. That's crazy to see what that happens. And you get different people that interact with the sport because you don't want to be the Instagram. Like that's just not who you are. Yeah. So maybe
like for me it's like a training diary. Exactly. Mostly. It's like I like when I see my friends comment and like, because I like to talk to them and I don't just message them for no reason. But it's like if I can get a little interaction from a thing I like to share because I like to see them moving. You know, and like it's hard to explain that joy of just seeing your friend. It's like it would be almost as if like you spoke another language and your friend spoke that language too. To see your friend out there doing that thing you do too, like that's just a joy to watch your friends on Instagram like in that way.
Yeah, well, and it's also like I feel like it's a relay in some ways. You know, like not that whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying, but I was just saying like it's a relay. Like certain people like are carrying the torch right now through Instagram because they can, and that's like they're crushing it. Like it's insane. Like we should all be so stoked to see like the crazy shit we see every day, dude. Yeah, it's fucking insane.
That's the other thing too, is it's so amazing and stuff. But then Instagram, I think specifically Instagram, so easy to start like spark your ego. But so it's like, it's like first you're seeing the thing that's sick, but then you have your profile at a button's touch away to now start comparing. You know what I mean? So, and it shows you all the numbers of the likes and the comments. So it's very easy to like hit your ego, at least on Instagram compared to like YouTube, because YouTube you don't like, it's just the video is there and like
you can still compare subscribers and views and whatever, but ultimately we're trying to get away from
such a quick switch between them. It's all about your notifications. Now let's see what they're doing. So you're saying what's up with me, what's up with them, what's up with me, what's up with them, constantly, like literally every 10 seconds at least, whereas YouTube, it's like you have to make a YouTube video. You have to think a lot about putting it out. You have to think a lot, you have to do all this stuff. And then whether or not you want to like interact with other people is your choice. You know what I mean? But like Instagram, it's like that constant interaction is just foaming into your face. Like you watch clips before you even decide if you want to see it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to at least click on a YouTube video and like, maybe you'll see some. Now they have the thumbnails that move, but like Instagram, you're literally just saying what's coming at me. And like, obviously like at random stuff can like poke your ego harder.
Yeah.
And like, and at least for me, like, and because it's the stuff I like.
With even YouTube, is like another... It's another like, if you were like if you're a Yamakasi member, you're looking at YouTube with the same kind of like, ooh, I don't know if that's me. Like they carried the torch in a different way. Like they lit the torch and, and then they pass it down to who can carry this next, who can keep carrying this forward. And we probably all take turns in some ways. And I think we're all going to get sick of Instagram as a society, not just as parkour, community, but just...
I think they'll just change Instagram.
I think they'll change
Instagram before we ever get sick of it.
Yeah, well, we're going to demand it, right? Because we're all kind of talking about it, and people are getting tired of like...
I also think part of it we can't conquer, because part of it is like human biology. So it's like some of the dopamine tricks and stuff...
We as a society can't conquer it. We as a society maybe can't conquer it collectively at once, but individuals will conquer it. And when they do, they will probably achieve a certain area, like it'll be admirable to where they got probably.
Or we'll just have,
and more people will want, and they'll spread the message like, hey, Facebook, guess what? Life's better
2.0
now that I'm over here above. I master Instagram. It doesn't own me or whatever. Yeah. And people will go gravitate towards that because people want to be healthy and they want to have more happiness and meaning in their lives, and Instagram's not going to give it to them. And unless it is.
The thing that sucks is there's still a lot of good stuff on Instagram. Like everybody loves to shit on it and stuff, but it's like there's a lot of amazing stuff.
It shouldn't even be a conversation.
App.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's where we need to all be, is like we're all either Instagram changes so that we're not having to talk about it.
I don't expect
we change
that.
So we're not having to talk about it.
I think more of the we change.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's what I like with just more long form content. Like, I just think that's one of the easiest ways that it actually works. Like, I couldn't say why exactly, but for me it works. Like, it feels more wholesome.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's like sugar. Yeah, like Instagram is like that. Sugar.
YouTube's got that.
It tastes fiber. Good, baby. Yeah, and YouTube's got a little more protein and shit. Whatever. It's got something. Yeah, it's delayed gratification versus instant gratification. It's one of the oldest comparisons you can make. Is like, do you want it now, or do you want it a little bit later, and it'll be better for you? Yeah. And
science just proves most of the time we want it now.
We want it now. Yeah, our systems are set up for like.
And that's the worst thing too. Is it like the app itself can just help turn you into more of a toddler in that way of like, ooh, I need it now.
Yeah. No, it's super weird too, because you can get the other way around where you're living so far in the future that you're not enjoying your present. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, and that's why you get the opposite message. People are like, live in the moment, man. Fuck yeah. Scroll Instagram. Like, do your thing. You literally have to balance it yourself because there's no one else going to do it for you.
Well, yeah. My parents they don't monitor my Instagram, Brandon.
Dude, and parents in like that generation, they are fucked more than anyone in some ways, because when they find the candy, they don't even know how to interact with the candy yet. I've seen like older people, just
hand their 5-year-old an iPhone.
I think that's why Facebook still exists in some way. it's not necessarily for
So
us.
old people?
I think there's a lot of people that like are still on there that are actually like older than us. It kind of like it already burned its way through the younger generations, and what's keeping it alive is like
are finding it
people
now.
that are like 50 plus that are like, oh shit, like they just spent all their time there because to them it's new still.
And the hooks, the like tricks that worked on younger people, like work on them still.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see
fascinating.
that.
So I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
we got a barbecue we got to get to.
Oh my god, I almost forgot.
We got to go to that young barbecue.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about anything and everything
we
that
talked
needed
about
to be
a lot.
talked
We
about.
actually got in some deep shit. That was some fun stuff.
Good stuff.
I mean, it's always a pleasure.
Agreed.
Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
I put a video out on YouTube called Harness this month.
Adam,
I think.
you know what? Here's what I would say. Even
I think I put it out this month.
Here's what I would say to continue our conversation. Actually, before we wrap up, is I think we might have to go even deeper than YouTube with our long term. Vimeo, dude. Let's go deeper, baby.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about like big productions. I know Farang's working on like something like a little bit more. It seems like.
So what do you mean when you say that? Like,
I mean,
like the documentaries.
Okay, like you said cinema, right? It's like we have a scene, we have maybe a chapter of a movie, and then we have the full film.
Yeah,
and I don't think we really have seen that many. Like you said, the documentaries. We've only seen like
Asia,
a few full films.
I honestly, I wasn't thinking of that, but that was a really good one for
Roof
that.
Culture Asia, that did more for everyone.
Honestly, I feel like that should have blew up more than it did. I don't know why it didn't.
I think partially
they're
because
more popular now.
Partially
though, right?
because a lot of those clips,
like they didn't have all their subscribers back then, right?
No, yeah,
and
a lot of that
like
clip,
they blew up after. If they put it out now, it would do so much better.
Well, and they're probably working on another one.
Didn't they charge for it at first too? Yeah, if they put it out more now, like
they still charge for it, right?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's true. I don't think you can get it any other way. I just saw it in theaters, so
hey, holla, yeah, I was there.
It's a good time.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a real something that is huge.
Yeah,
that's bigger than like.
Well, that's the other thing. That's one thing that's hard for us, for parkour people, is breaking into the mainstream. Like when we get parkour in a movie, it's so mainstreamed that like people hardly even notice parkour happened. You know what I mean? Like that was a chase scene. But like if you had like a Free Solo got into mainstream, and now people know who Alex Honnold is, and they know about climbing and free soloing. Like, but it didn't have to be Casino Royale.
And climbing's existed for decades longer than us. Like we might have to wait.
Why don't we have something like that?
We don't have, but like again, we have the faster
filmmaking
cycles.
is at such a crazy place now that's like,
dude,
people
Alex
can
Honnold
make amazing stuff with low budgets, like just a lot of passion. And
you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you did it.
I didn't do it.
You did it.
I did some things, but
what happened?
Check it out. If you want to check out one of the few parkour documentaries that exist, it's kind of it's almost, I wouldn't put it like it's 37 minutes long. Let's not give it like,
it's free. It's on YouTube.
It's free. It's on YouTube, baby.
Is it? Yeah, dude. I feel like you need to. I remember I was like looking at it a while ago, and I was like, I feel like you just need to put like parkour free running documentary in the title. Because I think the title is just what happened. So no one's ever going to find that on YouTube. Like they have to know.
No one's going to find it now anyways, right?
At least give them a chance.
Give them a chance.
Who is going to think, I'm looking for parkour documentary. What happened? Like people that know
by the way,
will know.
Hillary Clinton wrote a book called What Happened. It came out around the same time. And I was like, God damn it. I didn't know like... That name, like whatever.
But this is all I'm saying.
This happened. That was the other.
All I'm saying
title.
is just that, like, I remember I was looking at the title and I was like, now that it's been a couple years since this came out, but it's still just as good as when it came out. It's still like high quality production value content. That's like nobody would be like, oh, this crap because it's old. Like you could literally upload it again, and people who didn't see it would be like, yes, this is the standard of parkour stuff now. But yeah, I just felt like it went more under the radar than it could have. And yeah, even now, like it still has a chance to get there's a lot of people in the parkour community that I'm sure have no idea it exists, especially for free on YouTube. Yeah. So
looking at you, 137 subscribers.
If you want to hear about a great documentary that I was in when I was a wee lad.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember how old I was. I was probably like 14 or 15. I was wearing jeans. It was sick.
Ooh.
Point B.
Point B?
Yeah, there's a parkour documentary called Point B.
No shit.
It has
Who did it?
Showtime in it. It has Devin Bardole in it.
Mm-hmm.
It might have Levi Muhlenberg in it. I can't remember.
That's some
It's
fire.
old. It's old. But yeah, that was made by a guy named like Michael Alosi or something. He was like finishing college. I don't know if he went to college in Boulder or not, but yeah, he was finishing college and that was like his final student film or something. It's a funny one. It's super old school. Like,
I want to check it out.
Showtime says
Is it on
nasty
YouTube?
in it.
Is it free?
I don't know if it's on YouTube, but you can Google it and watch it for free. It's
Let's check
funny.
it out.
All right.
Get your goddamn parkour documentaries together.
Yeah,
out
please,
there.
for me, I need something to watch.
Just why don't you do it? You got an eye for film. You got cameras.
Hey. Hey. You need people, man. I'm one
a
guy.
person.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm a person.
I like that you're a person.
I'm a person. I'm right here, baby.
We'll talk.
All right, we're going to continue this conversation
We'll talk.
off camera. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Dante.
No problem. Thank you.
See you guys. Peace. All right, gang. That was it. That was Dante Grazioli. I hope you guys dig that one and that you'll check out things in the description, links, whatever. I hope you have a good life until we see you next week. And let me know if you have any ideas what you can see next. I got some. So hopefully you'll dig those as well. Much love, guys. Take care.